Good afternoon and welcome to Opinions Plus. Um, I do appreciate your viewers viewing the clips and comments, and uh, there's uh, these right now. This channel is my opinions basically, um, but your comments are important. They, your willingness to share an idea, whether it's a sentence or more, um, it's important. Feel free to do so. How many people see them, and it's a very limited viewership right now, but hopefully it'll grow. I've got to do more in a more consistent way, but it's you know I'm new to this YouTube game, but there's important things that need to be done, need to be said, need to be voiced. Um, Nothing is going to be new. There is nothing new anymore. The internet has done away with newness. Um, People are innovative. They'll certainly try to be as new as they can. But there's always somebody on the internet that's got something. There's 9 billion people out there, and there's a lot of minds, a lot of imagination. So there's no new ideas. And frankly, over the thousands of years men have been talking, people have been talking. I don't think there are any new ideas. They're just rehashing and regrouping some of these things together. The topic for today is trust again. I had one clip on trust in general, but this is more specific. Um, why trust Trump? I just saw a poll here recently, and it said that 71%, and this was focused on the GOP, um, which again raises questions as to what, you know, the Republican Party is. I really don't know. I don't see it as conservative base. It tears down things more than it builds up. It's a scare party now, basing its premises on fear, not on policy. Everything they do is, scare, scare, scare. Now they're again talking about getting rid of Social Security, and in different ways they're maneuvering that. So GOP people, just be aware. They don't have your back. Um, they don't even have the reason of fiscal conservatism, because in the Trump administration the deficit went up 7 trillion. They're not fiscally conservative. No administration is. I think Clinton was the only one that brought the deficit down, and that was not just because Clinton was president, but there are factors that go into it. No one person does everything, is the control of everything. But as Trump leads the Republican primaries and everything else, by head and shoulder amounts, just fantastic. No matter what, how many indictments, 91 charges against the guy, and then the belief that comes along that says, okay, he's innocent of all. 91 charges, you know, from all these different state and federal and different states. Everybody's against this poor, battered human being. Um, and that goes to the question: why trust Trump? If any of those things were, proved to be true, now why people have to wait until it goes to the court of law, I'm not 100% sure. But that's the way the media presents it all the time. But there's so much information out there. You know, the election wasn't stolen. Everybody knows that. Do they? trust Trump. He says it isn't, so therefore it isn't. Um, you know, now I forgot the Layham, the one of the indicted people in Georgia. She was the Republican in Coffee County that led the people in, let them into the office, and you know, let them go at the computers there. She said, "Well, Trump told me to do it. My president told me to do it. Why not do it? Yeah. So what? It's against the law. Your president tells you to do it. That's what Nixon said. You know, anything that the president does is legal. Now that's a bunch of crap. You know that. Everybody knows that. These guys, this is not, the old Middle Ages stuff where the king could do everything and there was no consequence. They just did it. Now don't pretend that it is. You guys, if you do believe that stuff, get help because it doesn't work that way in America. Look at Putin. That guy's going down the tubes. He's taking his country with him. And why do people have such loyalty to this man? What has he done for them? There's no reason that you can list as to why people are dedicated to serving Putin's end, his end game, his goals. He has power, he uses it, and people align themselves with that power to get their own way, I suppose. But I'm not that type of a manipulative person. I'm not that kind of person that can get into their heads and try to understand the level of corruption and debauched thinking that goes into people who would attack another country, kill thousands of people, civilians, horrendous war crimes. For what? Because Putin wanted to do it? Just like this woman, Layham, who said, well, Trump told me to do it. I'm going to go do it. Did she not understand that she has a responsibility to abide by the law? When I was in the military, and I said this in another clip, you're given an order. You have to obey it. But, they always put a little caveat there. If it's a lawful order. Well, how the heck do you know if it's a lawful order or not? You might think it's not a lawful order, but you don't know if it's a lawful order. Do you? Take your chances. Roll the dice. Stand up for your morals. You don't take out that village. Why not? Lieutenant told me to do it. I did it. Don't underestimate the power of ignorance in people. All they have to do, you just don't know what's in the heart. And that's one of the problems with Trump. You don't know you don't have a clue what's in his heart. And, people that trust Trump based on what is beyond me. Because he doesn't have your back. There's nothing he's done in his administration at all, and if you just go cite Roe versus Wade, and that thing, if that's your only thing, look at what's happened. Look at what's happened. He's backed off on that. He doesn't care. He'll say anything. He'll say, yeah, he's for it. He says it's against it. I put the judges in there. I didn't. It doesn't matter. But people believe whatever he says because they trust Trump more than their family, more than their religious leaders. And I've said this before, these religious leaders have just reneged on their responsibility to lead, guide morally. They've reneged on it. 10,000 examples a day that they can point to say how to better live your life. so the society isn't trashed. They have a responsibility to that. It isn't just read from the Bible. They have a responsibility to speak to the social issues of today. Just like Pope Leo back in World War II. He didn't come out and say, hey, Germany, look at what you're doing. He didn't call them out. Well, he was in a tough bind. Mussolini, Italy. What are you going to do? I don't know. You're a religious leader. You have responsibilities. Live up to them? Maybe. I don't know the full events there. The religious leaders during Hitler's time, where were they? There were some that stood up. Most conformed. Why? Because they were afraid. Some even ended up believing in all that hype about anti-Jewishness and the abilities to um, become the pure. I don't know. I don't know what happens to people. I don't know what happens to their convictions. I don't know what happens to their understanding of right and wrong. I've voiced it to my family. That if for those in the Christian community, look at Satan, Satan's influence. I don't hear anybody saying anything about that except for the nuts that go around saying that people are drinking blood and all this nonsense. That is wrong. You don't think Satan's influencing the leadership in the so-called Republican Party? You don't think Satan's influencing the leadership in the Democratic Party? You think that he's like political? Or if he is a he? Trust Trump? What has Trump said about the Bible? What has Trump said about the uh, Christ as his Savior? Does he follow Christ's teachings? Does he even know what they are? There was that one interview where the guy says, what's your favorite verse? No, I don't have it. No, it's too personal for me. I love the Bible. I love the Bible. No personal. Well, which is your favorite, Old or New Testament? Oh yeah, well they're both good. They're top of the line. Makes jokes about it. But that's acceptable because people don't want to really know, or they just want to trust Trump. Now again, I try to keep the foundational issues. I try. I do my best to think about it, but it's very hard. But this is foundational. Trust is foundational. Trust is the building block of our society. Without trust, you have nothing. But who do you trust? Who do you trust? There's an old show on the television. Johnny Carson, I think, did it when he was first starting into the TV bit. Who do you trust? Is it Trump? Is it men like Trump? Is it men like Putin? They just happen to be males. Could be females. I don't think it goes along the lines of male, female, anything else. I think it's just people. People are influenced by power and power and power and power. And money is power, sex is power, the whole bit goes on power. And if you try to critically think about why you trust someone, whether they're intelligent or not, they can still guide you. They may not have the credentials, but their character can guide you. Now, does Trump have that character? Has he even shown that character? He's indicted, impeached. Then believe me, those things that were done at the impeachment, and it was only partisanship that got him through it. Otherwise, if there was more Democrats in the Senate, he would have been impeached and he wouldn't have ran. But that's just the way it is. Can't do a thing about the past except learn from it. Do not trust people just on face value or just because you want to. Trust Trump? I don't think so. I couldn't. I couldn't. As far as I believe he's 215 pounds. If you like what you hear and you would like to subscribe, please do. Send a link on to those who you might think this has some value or some interest. There's a lot in this world we have to deal with today. Think, critically think. Look at your foundation. Look at your base. Look at your character. Look at who you are. And strive to improve. Take care.